Headsets hiss in a crowded call center as Raymond Keller's stutter turns every syllable into a stumble, right until one call makes his voice snap into steel. A customer scoffs, "Can I speak to someone competent?" And the room pretends not to hear. Raymond's fingers tighten around a pen like it's a trigger, knuckles whitening. Under his collar, something metallic taps his chest with each breath. In less than a minute, dignity, job security, and a buried past collide, and someone's life hangs on the next sentence. If you're drawn to stories where quiet people carry the heaviest histories, subscribe and stay with us. What Raymond says next will change how everyone in that room sees him. The call center floor feels overly bright, like the lights scrub the air clean and leave it sterile. Rows of gray cubicles stretch under acoustic tiles. Monitors glow with ticket queues and angry little red timers. Coffee breath mixes with overheated plastic and the sharp antiseptic bite of hand sanitizer. Somewhere, a printer chews paper with a tired clatter that never stops. Raymond Keller, 58, sits a little too straight for this job, shoulders squared even in a cheap mesh chair. His pale hands hover over the keyboard with careful precision, as if every keystroke has consequences. When the line connects, his mouth opens, and the stutter arrives like a gate slamming shut. His lower lip trembles. His eyes flick once to the script taped to the monitor, then back to the customer record. He forces the words out anyway. Thank you for calling Northbridge T-Tech support," he says, voice catching, breath shallow. On the next row, a younger agent, Brandon Coyle, leans back and smirks like he's watching a slow-motion crash. 2 seats down, Linda Hartwell, team lead, blonde hair in a tight clip, keeps one ear tuned toward Raymond with the polite impatience of someone timing a mistake. Their supervisor, Derek Halston, patrols the aisle in a pressed button-down, tablet tucked to his chest like a shield. Raymond's caller today is already irritated. A man exhales hard into the mic. "I've been transferred twice," he snaps. "Do you people hire anyone who can actually talk?" Raymond's throat bobs. A faint twitch runs through his jaw as he swallows the heat of it. "I can help you reset your router," he manages. Derek Halston steps in before Raymond can finish, his smile thin and practiced. He taps Raymond's desk once, too loud, then takes the headset off Raymond's ear like removing a faulty part. "Mr. Keller's in training," Derek says into the mic, voice smooth. "I'll take it from here." Brandon's eyebrows lift in silent amusement. Linda's gaze slides away, as if looking directly would make her complicit. Raymond keeps his hands on the desk, fingers curled, nails pressing crescents into his own palm. Under his collar, something small and metal clicks softly when he breathes, hidden, but not forgotten. As Derek walks away with the call, Raymond's screen refreshes. Another ticket drops into his queue. The red timer starts again, counting down to the next chance to be humiliated. 2 hours before lunch, the supervisors pull the teams into Glass Room B, an over-air-conditioned box with a laminated table and a wall-mounted screen looping customer empathy slides. The air smells like dry erase marker and burnt coffee. Through the glass, the call floor keeps moving, blinking cue lights, agents mouthing apologies, headsets bobbing like buoys. Raymond Keller sits at the far end with his hands folded, thumbs rubbing the side of his index finger in a small, repetitive circle. His knee bounces once, then he stills it like he's issuing himself an order. Derek Halston stands by the door, arms crossed, jaw set. Linda Hartwell perches with a legal pad, pen poised. Brandon Coyle leans back, ankle on his knee, smirk already loaded. At 11:08 a.m., the manager arrives, Calvin Stroud, mid-50s, tall, clean-shaven, tie knotted too tight like it's holding his temper in place. He doesn't sit. He taps his phone, and Raymond's metrics appear on the screen in bright, humiliating bars. "Worst handle time on the floor," Calvin says, voice flat. "Highest transfer rate. And the complaints?" He looks directly at Raymond's mouth, not his eyes. "Communication." Raymond's throat tightens. A tiny flare crosses his nostrils as he draws air. I'm working on..." Calvin cuts him off with a raised hand, palm out like a stop sign. "If you can't speak, you shouldn't be here." The sentence lands and stays. Brandon's eyebrows pop in exaggerated pity. Linda's pen hesitates a fraction, then continues, as if the paper matters more than the person. Derek shifts his weight, eyes flicking to the glass wall, anywhere but Raymond's face. Raymond's fingers slide to his collar unconsciously, pressing the fabric down. Something metallic rests under it, cool against skin. When Calvin's phone buzzes with a faint burst of static from a notification, Raymond's shoulders jolt, just a centimeter, like he's reacting to a distant crack of a radio. He blinks hard, once, twice, then forces stillness back into his posture. Calvin paces behind him, shoes clicking like a metronome. "Northbridge isn't a charity," he says. "We don't have room for delays." I fixed the things." Raymond pushes out, cheeks tightening with effort. His eyes shine with strain, but he holds Calvin's gaze anyway. Calvin's mouth twists. "You don't fix the one thing this job requires." A silence hums. In it, Derek clears his throat as if he might help. But he doesn't. Linda's lips press into a line, her chin lifting a touch, the micro-expression of someone choosing safety over fairness. Then, at 11:12 a.m., the wall screen flickers, just a half-second stutter of pixels, and a hiss from the tiny speaker. The hiss is nothing. The hiss is everything. Raymond's eyes narrow, focused, and his right hand, without permission, reaches for a pen. He flips Linda's forgotten notepad toward himself and writes fast. Not words, blocks, slashes, short bursts of letters arranged like coordinates. Tac 3, Alt, RLY. His breathing changes, deeper, measured. Brandon watches, smirk faltering into confusion. Calvin sees the scribbles and snaps. "What is that? Are you taking notes on how to fail slower?" Raymond's jaw tightens. The muscle near his temple ticks once. He doesn't answer fast enough, his stutter crowding the doorway. And then a call notification pings from Derek's tablet outside the meeting feed. Priority customer. Medical emergency mentioned. The sound is thin, electronic, and urgent. Derek glances down. His face drains a shade. "We're in a meeting," Calvin says automatically, annoyed. Derek swallows. "It's flagged. The agent notes say, storm, labor, ambulance." The room shifts. Linda straightens, eyes widening. Brandon sits forward. The glass wall suddenly feels too thin. Raymond is already halfway up, chair legs scraping. His hand comes out steady, palm open, not pleading, directing. Give me the L line," he says, and for a moment the stutter catches, fights him. Calvin scoffs. "Absolutely not." Outside, the call floor erupts in small motions, agents craning, whispers spreading. A nearby representative, Megan Pruitt, quiet, observant, pauses mid-typing, watching Raymond with narrowed eyes, like she's recognizing a shape she can't name yet. Derek hesitates, torn between policy and panic. The tablet keeps buzzing. Somewhere beyond the glass, a customer's voice leaks through another agent's headset, high, frayed, repeating, "Please, please, she's..." Raymond's gaze locks on the tablet like it's a radio handset on a convoy. His shoulders square. The metal under his collar clicks once with his breath. "In moments," Raymond says, and something in his tone sharpens. This is going to be too late." Calvin's eyes harden, then flick to the red emergency tag. Linda's lips part, uncertain. Brandon's smirk vanishes completely. Derek lifts the headset, hovering, ready to choose. And Raymond, pen still in hand, writes one more line in that clipped, military-looking code. 90 SEC. The headset lands in Raymond Keller's palm like a weapon he doesn't want to touch in daylight. For half a second, the stutter crowds his tongue. Then the room noise fades into a single, clean channel. The air in glass room B feels colder now, over-conditioned until it pricks skin. Fluorescent light reflects off the laminated table, the glass walls, the manager's watch. Outside, the call floor blurs into moving mouths and flashing timers, like a distant city seen through rain. Derek Halston hesitates with the line hovering between policy and panic. Raymond's fingers slide under his collar and pull. Just enough. Two dull silver dog tags tap his sternum. Not jewelry, weight, identity. His throat works once, and a tiny muscle jumps at the corner of his jaw as if it's bracing for impact. "Ray," Megan Pruitt whispers from the other side of the glass, barely audible, eyes locked on him. She sees the tags. She sees the way his shoulders set. Not hunched, stacked and squared. Raymond doesn't look at her. He looks at the emergency flag on the tablet like it's a grid coordinate. "Put it through," he says, low, controlled. The stutter isn't gone yet, but it's contained, leashed. Calvin Stroud's nostrils flare. His lips thin into a line that screams, liability. "You are not authorized." Raymond lifts a hand again, palm out. Not begging, commanding. The skin across his knuckles tightens white over tendon. "If we waste time, she dies," he forces out, each word scraping, but the intent is unmistakable. The sentence doesn't belong in a corporate meeting room. It belongs somewhere with dust in your teeth, and that pulls him under. 16 years earlier, the world runs on sand and heat. The memory hits like a pressure change. Iraq, a 2-lane strip of broken asphalt outside Al-Qaim. Midday glare so bright, it turns every shadow into a blade. The air tastes like diesel, cordite, and crushed limestone. His Marines convoy moves in a staggered line. MRAPs and Humvees, radio chatter constant, clipped, disciplined. Raymond sits hunched over a battered radio set, headset biting the side of his skull, sweat threading down his spine under body armor. He isn't Raymond there. He is Staff Sergeant Keller, radio operator. The voice between living and dead. A young lance corporal beside him, Ethan Mallory, keeps tapping his knee trying to joke through fear. His smile flickers, then fails. "Sarge," the kid says, eyes too wide, "when we get back, I'm gonna eat a steak the size of my head." Raymond's mouth pulls into a tight half smile, the kind that doesn't waste energy. "Copy that," he says. "Stay sharp." The ambush detonates without permission. The first blast lifts the lead vehicle like a toy. The sound isn't loud at first. It's a concussion that rearranges air. Then gunfire stitches the convoy from both sides, sharp cracks echoing off rock and concrete. Men shout into radios. Someone screams a grid. Someone else is praying. Raymond's hands don't shake. They move. He keys the mic. "Convoy 6, this is RTO Keller. Contact heavy. Both flanks. Marking position now." His voice is steady, almost calm, like calm as a tool. His eyes narrow, scanning. His breathing slows on purpose. Static bursts across the channel, harsh, jagged, then clears. It always clears for him. He writes in the same clipped blocks he writes today. Coordinates, headings, call signs. His pen scratches hard enough to tear paper. His jaw locks, a micro-expression of pure control, and he forces the words out like rounds. "Air is the only way." The lieutenant barks over the chaos, face smeared with dust, eyes wild. "We're pinned." Raymond looks up at the sky, empty, merciless blue, and answers without drama. "Then I bring air." 6 hours stretch like a lifetime. He stays on that radio while the convoy takes hits, while wounded men moan and try not to. He talks pilots onto a landing zone that doesn't exist yet. He relays smoke color. He corrects a misheard coordinate before it turns into a friendly fire disaster. His voice doesn't crack once. It becomes the spine of the entire operation. At one point, Ethan Mallory's hand clamps around Raymond's sleeve, trembling. The kid's face is gray under the grime. "Sarge," he whispers, tell him we're still here." Raymond leans close so the kid can hear him over the gunfire. His eyes soften, just a fraction, then harden again. "I'm already telling them," he says, "and they're listening." The final transmission comes when the rescue birds are minutes out. Minutes that feel like miles. Raymond keys the mic, voice cutting through the channel like a blade. "Hammer 2-1, this is Keller. You are cleared hot on my mark. Danger close. Repeat, danger close." A pause. Then the pilot. "Keller, confirm. You're inside the blast radius." Raymond swallows once, throat tight, then answers with the certainty of someone making peace with math. Confirmed, he says. Do it. He doesn't feel heroic. He feels precise. The grenade arrives like a punctuation mark, a flash, a slap of pressure. Metal shards rip through air and meet. For a fraction of a second, everything goes white and soundless, like the universe holds its breath. Then the world returns in pieces, ringing ears, hot blood, the taste of pennies, the radio screaming in his headset. Raymond tries to speak. His tongue won't obey. His mouth forms the first syllable and it stalls, trapped behind an invisible gate. Panic tries to climb his throat, sharp and animal. His eyes widen, then narrow as he fights it down. He grips the radio harder, so hard his knuckles burn, and forces breath into his lungs like he's forcing order into chaos. He manages one last push into the mic. Not pretty, not smooth, but understood. Birds. Inbound. Hold. Hold. The words come out broken, but the message lands. The rescue arrives. The convoy survives. 40 men get out who don't get out in the alternate version of history. And when Raymond wakes later, under harsh lights, antiseptic stinging his nose, monitors chirping like distant alarms, he tries to say his own name. It falls apart. A Navy corpsman, Caleb Rourke, freckles, tired eyes, leans over him and speaks gently, like gentle is a medical instrument. You're alive, Staff Sergeant. Hate to say, we've got you. Raymond's eyes sting. His lower eyelid twitches, betraying him. He tries again, fails again, then turns his face into the pillow so no one sees the humiliation of surviving with a broken voice. Back in the present, the glass meeting room snaps into focus. Calvin Stroud is still talking, his mouth moving, his tone rising. Yet the words blur. Raymond hears only the urgent beep of the emergency tag and the faint hiss of digital static, the same texture as desert radio noise. He looks down at Linda Hartwell's notepad, where he has written, TAC 3, Alt, RLY, 90 SEC. His handwriting is identical to the one in the Sandstorm memory. He presses his thumb against the ink as if it anchors him. Some wounds aren't visible because they aren't meant to inspire sympathy. They're meant to be carried. And the cruelest part is this. People don't measure your strength by what you've survived. They measure it by how comfortable you make them while you survive it. While Raymond Keller's story is fictional, combat-related traumatic brain injuries reflect documented realities. During Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, more than 430 U.S. service members were diagnosed with TBI between 2000 and 2022, U.S. Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. Blast exposure can affect speech and processing even without visible scars. The VA and DoD expanded rehabilitation and transition support, but workplace stigma and under-recognition remain systemic challenges requiring continued awareness and reform. Raymond exhales slowly. His lips part. The stutter brushes the first sound. Then he corrals it the way he corrals fear. He looks at Derek, then at Calvin, and finally at the glass where Megan watches, eyes narrowed, like she's realizing this man is not fragile. He's contained. Give me the call, Raymond says, voice steadier now, the words stacked like sandbags. And now. Derek's Adam's apple bobs. He nods once, quick, decisive, like he's finally choosing the right chain of command. And as the headset rises toward Raymond's ear, the room holds its breath, because whatever is about to come out of him isn't going to sound like weakness. It's going to sound like a signal. The headset seals over Raymond Keller's ear, and the call center noise collapses into a single channel. The fluorescent lights still glare off the glass walls, but his focus narrows until Calvin Stroud, Linda Hartwell, Derek Halston, everyone, turns into background static. On the other side of the line, wind howls through a cheap phone mic. Rain slaps something metallic. A man's breathing comes fast, wet with fear. Northbridge, Derek starts, trying to take control. Raymond lifts 2 fingers, precise. Sir, he says into the mic, voice suddenly level. Identify your location, nearest cross street, now. The caller chokes. I don't. My router's dead. The power keeps. My wife's in labor. She can't. A crash. I can't get the address up. I can't call again if the phone drops. Raymond doesn't soften. He stabilizes. Copy. You're staying on this line. Listen to me and answer clean. Do you have any signal bars? 2. Maybe. Good enough. Look at the modem. Any lights at all? No, nothing. Battery backup? I don't know. Raymond's eyes flick to the scribbled code on Linda's pad. TAS 3 ALT RLY, and his jaw sets. A tiny muscle ticking near his temple. You have a car? He asks. Yes. Keys in hand. In 60 seconds, you're moving to the car for a stronger signal. You're not driving. You're using the car as a relay. Understood? The caller exhales like he's drowning. Understood. Derek stares at Raymond as if he's watching a stranger borrow the same body. Linda's lips part. Brandon Coyle's throat moves in a hard swallow. Smirk gone. Eyes stuck on Raymond's profile. Raymond's fingers fly across the keyboard, but his face stays calm, almost cold. I'm pushing a manual reset sequence, he says. When I say go, you hold the router reset for 10 seconds, release, then wait 30. Do not improvise. Okay. On my mark, go. 10 seconds. Raymond watches the timer on screen like it's a fuse. His shoulders remain squared, posture locked, the kind of stillness that makes other people trust you without knowing why. Release. Now wait. The caller's voice shakes. She's screaming. I can't. You can, Raymond says, firm enough to borrow certainty from. Put her on speaker. I'm staying with both of you. A woman's cry cuts through the line. Raw, animal, immediate. Calvin's face tightens in discomfort, but he doesn't speak. He can't. Not over that. Raymond's tone adjusts, not gentler, more exact. Ma'am, you're doing fine. Sir, describe the contractions. How far apart? Maybe 2 minutes? Less? Raymond nods once like he already expects it. Copy. Derek, he says without covering the mic. Eyes never leaving the screen. Call 911 from your phone. Give them the account address on file and tell them the caller's phone may drop. Derek blinks, then fumbles for his phone like he's waking up. Right, yes. The router lights blink back to life. Raymond doesn't celebrate. Internet will return in 5 seconds, he says. Sir, open your emergency address. Read it to me. The caller's typing clacks in the background, frantic. Okay, 1127 Briar Hollow Road, Wexford Township. Raymond repeats it, perfect cadence. 1127 Briar Hollow Road. Stay on speaker. You're not alone. 90 seconds after the headset touches his ear, the caller sobs, relief breaking through panic like dawn. How did you do that so fast? Raymond's gaze flicks to Calvin for the first time. Calvin's mouth hangs slightly open, the micro-expression of a man watching his certainty drain away. Raymond returns to the mic. Because this isn't about internet, Raymond says. It's about time. He stays on until Derek confirms the ambulance is dispatched. When the caller finally whispers, "Thank you," Raymond's hand trembles, just once, then stills as he ends the call. The second the line clicks dead, the stutter rushes back in like a tide. I need a water, he tries, breath catching. His cheeks tighten with the effort, humiliation threatening to rise. Calvin steps forward, recovering his managerial mask. What the hell was that? He demands, but the edge is thinner now. Before Raymond can answer, a commotion rolls across the call floor outside the glass. Chairs scrape. A man in a soaked windbreaker pushes past cubicles with urgent purpose, hair plastered to his forehead, eyes scanning. Security trails him, protesting. He ignores them. He reaches glass room B and locks onto Raymond with the accuracy of a sight picture. That voice, the man says, voice hoarse. That code you used, TAC relays, timed commands. His eyes drop to Raymond's collar, to the faint outline beneath the fabric. You served. Raymond's throat works. His lower lip trembles. Sir, I just... The man cuts in, shaking his head hard, rain dripping off his jaw. No. He looks straight at Calvin Stroud now, like Calvin is the one on trial. "You don't understand who you're talking to." He steps closer, close enough for everyone to hear the next words. "Staff Sergeant Raymond Keller," he says, reverent and certain. "Marine Radio, Al-Qaim, 6-hour ambush, the Distinguished Service Cross." His eyes shine, furious with gratitude. "You're the voice that never failed." And in the glass-walled room, every assumption shatters at once. The soaked man's name is Tyler Granger, late 40s, broad-shouldered even under a windbreaker that clings to him like a second skin. Rainwater drips from his lashes onto the tile. His gaze stays locked on Raymond Keller with a kind of fierce recognition, like he is staring at a lighthouse he once followed out of darkness. Calvin Stroud's face shifts. First disbelief, then the tight micro-expression of fear trying to dress itself as authority. His chin lifts a fraction. "Sir, you can't just storm into—" Tyler doesn't look at him yet. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a battered wallet, and slides a creased photo onto the laminated table. 40 Marines in dust-stained gear, arms slung over each other. He taps one face near the center. "That's me," he says, voice rough. Then he taps another. "That's Keller, right there. The radio operator who keeps us alive when everything else is gone." Raymond's throat bobs. His fingers hover near his collar, not pulling the tags out, just checking they're still there. A faint tremor rides his index finger and he crushes it down with sheer will. Derek Halston's eyes dart between Tyler and Raymond, pupils wide, as if the room suddenly contains a different set of rules. Linda Hartwell's mouth opens, closes. Her pen stops moving for the first time all day. Brandon Coyle's posture collapses forward, elbows on knees, his smirk replaced by a blank, chastened stare. Calvin tries again, voice sharper. "We appreciate your service, but this is a workplace. He's failing performance standards." Tyler finally turns. He doesn't raise his voice. He does something worse. He speaks with calm certainty. "Performance?" he repeats, letting the word hang. His jaw tightens at one corner. "2 hours ago, my wife is in labor. The storm drops our connection. I'm panicking and I'm wasting time with a script." He points at Raymond. Then, that man takes the line and gives me timed commands like he's running a tactical relay. 90 seconds later, I have my address, 911 is dispatched, and my wife isn't alone in it. Calvin's lips press thin. "That doesn't erase. It proves the only metric that matters," Tyler cuts in. His eyes flash, wet and bright. He functions when people are breaking. A beat of silence. You can hear the call center through the glass now, headsets clicking, distant hold music, the soft churn of anxiety. Raymond's shoulders stay squared, but his eyes flick down, then up, the smallest micro-expression of shame fighting gratitude. Derek clears his throat, finally stepping into authority. "Calvin," he says, voice steadier than it has been all morning. "That call was tagged medical emergency. Raymond handled it correctly, faster than any escalation path we have." Derek's thumb taps his phone, pulling up the recording. And it's not the first. Linda's eyes narrow, searching memory. "The fire last month," she says quietly, more to herself than anyone. "The caller who couldn't breathe because smoke was in the apartment." Raymond stayed on and kept them counting. Brandon swallows hard. "And the guy with chest pain," he adds, barely audible. "I heard that one. Raymond didn't even stutter." Raymond flinches at being discussed like evidence, then steadies. His jaw muscles tick once, a contained impulse to disappear. Tyler nods, turning back to Raymond, softer now. "It's like your brain flips a switch," he says. "Emergency hits and the training takes the wheel." Raymond tries to answer. I don't." The words snag. His cheeks tighten. His eyes squeeze shut for a fraction of a second. He inhales, measured, controlled. "I did do what needs doing." Calvin's gaze drops to Raymond's collar again, to the faint metallic outline. The manager's posture loosens by a millimeter, as if his certainty is leaking out of him. Derek looks at Calvin with a firmness that surprises even Linda. "Effective immediately," he says. "Raymond Keller is off standard call cues. He's creating too much value in the wrong place. He turns to Raymond. You're going to be our emergency escalation coordinator, You take any call flagged medical, fire, domestic threat, severe weather, anything where time matters. You'll train others on calm communication and rapid triage. Raymond's eyes glisten. He blinks fast, twice, refusing tears. His mouth trembles, then stills. Yes, sir, he manages, the stutter present but no longer humiliating, just human. Calvin steps forward, forced into the new reality. His voice drops. His throat works, Adam's apple jumping. The micro-expression on his face is reluctant concession trying to become remorse. I misjudged you. Raymond looks at him without triumph, just a level gaze, steady as a radio tone. You judged what was easy to see, he says, careful, each syllable carried like glass. Not what was true. Outside the room, agents gather behind cubicle walls, pretending to work while listening. Megan Pruitt stands closest, arms folded, eyes shining with quiet vindication. When Raymond passes the glass, she gives a single small nod, the kind soldiers give each other when words are unnecessary. Tyler reaches for the photo, then pauses. One more thing, he says, turning it so everyone can see. Those 40 men? We walk out because his voice holds under fire. He looks straight at Brandon, at Linda, at Derek, then at Calvin last. Some people stutter in comfort so they can speak clearly in chaos. And Raymond, still holding his pen like an anchor, feels the room's energy change. Not pity, not embarrassment, respect. Morning light falls through Northbridge's front windows in clean, slanted bars, turning the lobby dust into slow gold. The building smells like fresh toner and lemon polish now, not burnt coffee. Raymond Keller sits at a smaller desk near security. No queue timer, no red alarms, just a dedicated line labeled Emergency Escalation. His dog tags rest inside his shirt, still tapping softly with each breath. His mouth twitches once as he rehearses a greeting, then steadies. Calvin Stroud stops beside him, tie loosened, eyes rimmed with the tired look of a man who slept inside his own guilt. His throat bobs. Mr. Keller, I was wrong, he says, voice low. Raymond's fingers flex, then relax. Not every strength, he answers, a light stutter threading through. Shows up as perfect words. Sometimes the heart to talks louder. Megan Pruitt watches from the corridor, chin lifting, learning what respect looks like in real time. While Raymond Keller's story is fictional, speech disorders are widely documented. Stuttering affects about 3 million Americans, around 1% of the population, National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders. Workplace bias remains common. In 2022, the U.S. Congress passed the REACH Act, Public Law 117-228, to expand federal efforts and research supporting people who stutter. These systemic challenges require continued awareness and reform. A tone drops into Raymond's headset. Sharp, urgent. His eyes narrow, calm snapping into place. The stutter disappears. Emergency line, he says, voice firm. I've got you. Stay calm. Before you go, subscribe for more stories where dignity wins in the moments that matter most, and tell us, what quiet strength have you witnessed lately?